Now we need to take a look at the else-if construct. We already looked at the if using an else afterwards, but there's a new construction here called else-if. Take a look at this. If the test expression is true or non-zero, then we run this true statement. We've seen that. And then we come to the else. Well, now we have another if. Here's the else-if. If this test expression is true, we do this statement. Else, if this one is true, we do that statement. Else, if this one is true, we do this statement. And then if none of these test expressions up through here are true, we'll wind up doing this none of the above here at the bottom. There's no practical limit to the number of items you can have in here that you can stack up in the else if. We have a better way to do this that you're going to see in a few minutes in the switch statement. But for just a few options, like testing options on a command line, the else if works just fine. Let's go take a look at a program using the else if, and I'll show you how it works, and we'll talk about that program. Here's my Visual Studio prompt. And I have a notepad open here with the program in it that I want to show you. Just a little something I whipped up for just us. Here I pick up standard I/O, pretty normal. Here we have our main, and notice we're starting to add a few items here in our main declaration. Here we're saying that main will be able to return an integer back to the operating system, which is how it tells the OS whether it ran okay or not, how things went during the function, during the work of main. Here we have the first parameter to main is always an argument count, and traditionally it is set up as an integer, and it's called argc. Obviously, this is just a variable name, and you can call it whatever you want to call it. Just know that the first thing that is passed into main will be a count of how many arguments come from the command line. The name of the program that you run, and this one's going to be called else if, is always the first parameter. Argc will always be at least 1 to show that there was one argument, the name of the program itself. Here is a character pointer array. Don't worry about that too much right now. I promise we'll talk about the details of character pointers and how they work. But what this is a list. It's an array. So it's more than one thing. It can be a number, and it will be however many argc is. If there's 1, 2, 3, whatever is in this. It is a list of pointers to the words coming from the command line. The first word will be the name of the program. The next word will be whatever is between a couple of spaces on the command line, and the next word, and so on, as we do our command line. And you'll see how this works here in just a minute. Here's a little quickie automatic character buffer. We named it buffer. We call it whatever we want to. It is 10 characters long, so it's kind of short, but it's good enough for us. And it is made up of individual characters. It is also an array, because there are little square brackets there. So we've asked the compiler to set aside 10 characters in memory for us. Now we're going to do a test here, because if we don't do this test and we try to do some things with the arguments down here, if they don't exist, we'll blow up the program. And we get that little send error report to Microsoft, or don't send, or so on, if we touch things in memory that we really shouldn't be touching. So if the argument count is less than 2, that's a problem, because we want the argument count to be at least 2, which is the name of the program, and then one option coming in, 1/ question mark or something like that. So if it's less than that, the person hasn't used the program right, so let's get out of here. We'll printf usage, we need an option, a new line, and then we'll leave with a bad exit code with an exit 1. And exit 0 is a good, clean exit. Exit 1 says, oops, we had a problem. And then we're done. We're out of the program at that point if the argument count is less than 2.